The silent star's cry for help. Captain Elena Vasquez pressed her palm against the cold metal wall of Watchtower Prime, feeling the subtle vibrations of the massive space station as it orbited Earth's moon. For 3 years, she had commanded humanity's most advanced deep space monitoring facility, listening to the cosmic silence and wondering if Earth was truly alone in the universe. The answer came on a Tuesday morning when the silence finally broke. The alert klaxon shattered the quiet of the observation deck, sending Elena racing toward the communications center. Lieutenant Park, her communications officer, was already hunched over his console, his face pale with excitement and disbelief. "Captain, you need to hear this," Park said, his voice trembling. "We picked up a transmission from the Kepler 442 system. It's not natural cosmic noise, ma'am. This is artificial. This is intelligent." Elena felt her heart skip as she slipped on the headphones. Through the static and cosmic interference, she heard something that would change humanity forever. The signal was weak, distorted by 27 light-years of travel, but unmistakably purposeful. Mathematical sequences, prime numbers, and then something that made her blood run cold. Universal distress patterns repeating over and over with increasing desperation. "How long has this been transmitting?" Elena asked, her mind racing through the implications. "Based on the signal degradation and our calculations of transmission time, this SOS has been broadcasting for at least 15 years, Park replied. "Captain, if someone sent this message 15 years ago from Kepler 442, and we're just receiving it now..." Elena finished the thought that neither of them wanted to voice. They might already be dead. The next 72 hours transformed Watchtower Prime into humanity's first center for xenological communication. Elena assembled every cryptographer, linguist, and physicist she could find. The team worked around the clock, fueled by coffee and the electric realization that they were decoding humanity's first message from another intelligent species. Dr. Sarah Kim, Earth's leading expert in pattern recognition, made the breakthrough on the 3rd day. She burst into Elena's office, her eyes bright with exhaustion and triumph. "We've got it, Elena. The mathematical framework was just the beginning. They embedded their language structure within harmonic frequencies. It's beautiful, actually. Incredibly efficient." Elena leaned forward, her coffee growing cold. "What does it say?" Dr. Kim's expression grew somber. "It's a plea for help. The species calls themselves the Zephyrians. They're peaceful, Elena. Their entire civilization is built around art, science, and philosophy. But they're under attack by something they call the Hegemony Collective. Their defenses are failing. Their colonies are being destroyed, one by one." The decoded message painted a picture of horror that reminded Elena of humanity's darkest historical chapters. The Hegemony Collective was a ruthless alliance of species that conquered and enslaved entire civilizations. They strip-mined worlds of resources and forced survivors into servitude. The Zephyrians had managed to send out this desperate call before their last communication relay was destroyed. "There's more," Dr. Kim continued. "They detected our radio transmissions from decades ago. They know we exist, Elena. They included star charts showing the location of Earth. If the Hegemony Collective captures their data..." Elena didn't need her to finish. If these conquerors learned about Earth's location, humanity could be next. The debate that followed in Earth's Unified Defense Council chambers was fierce and emotional. Elena found herself standing before the most powerful leaders on Earth, making a case that seemed impossible just a week earlier. "Members of the Council," Elena began, her voice steady despite the magnitude of what she was proposing. "We face a choice that will define humanity's future. Do we remain isolated and hope these conquerors never find us? Or do we take our first step as an interstellar species and help those who cry out for aid?" Council Chairman Morrison, a pragmatic man who had led Earth through multiple crises, shook his head gravely. "Captain Vasquez, what you're suggesting is unprecedented. Deploy our entire fleet to a system 27 light-years away to help aliens we've never met fight enemies we know nothing about. The risks are astronomical. So is the cost of doing nothing," Elena replied. "The Zephyrians have been fighting this war for over 15 years. If they fall, the Hegemony Collective will have access to their star charts, their technology, and their knowledge of our existence. We can help them now, or we can wait for the enemy to come to us. Admiral Marcus Chen, the head of Earth's Combined Fleet Command, stood slowly. His weathered face bore the scars of a lifetime of military service, and his voice carried the weight of command authority. "The captain makes a valid strategic point," Chen said. "But we're talking about committing every major vessel in Earth's fleet to an operation with no guarantee of success. If we lose, Earth will be defenseless." Elena had anticipated this objection. "Admiral, with respect, Earth is already defenseless against an enemy that can cross interstellar distances. Our only advantage is that they don't know where we are. Yet, if we act now, we can prevent them from ever learning our location." The debate continued for hours. Some council members argued for isolation, others for a limited response. But Elena kept returning to the core issue that haunted her thoughts. "I've listened to their message hundreds of times," she said during a brief recess, addressing the small group of supporters she had gathered. "There's something in it, something beyond the words. It's hope. These people, these Zephyrians, they still believe someone might come to help them. They're fighting impossible odds, but they haven't given up because they believe in the possibility of aid from the stars." Dr. Kim nodded. "The linguistic patterns suggest they're a species with strong communal bonds. Their society appears to be built on cooperation and mutual support. They can't comprehend abandoning others in need." Elena looked out the chamber, windows at Earth below, peaceful and blue in the afternoon light. "Maybe that's what makes them worth saving. Maybe that's what makes us worth defending." The final vote was close. 12 in favor, 10 against, with 3 abstentions. Earth would respond to the alien SOS. Admiral Chen approached Elena after the session ended. "Captain, I want you to know that your presentation was compelling. But I also want you to understand what we're asking our people to do. We're sending our sons and daughters into the unknown to fight an enemy that has already defeated a spacefaring civilization." Elena met his gaze steadily. "Admiral, my grandfather told me stories about the Second World War, about how America crossed an ocean to fight tyranny in Europe. He said the hardest decisions are often the most necessary ones. Sometimes you have to travel far from home to protect what home means." Chen nodded slowly. "Then I hope you're right, Captain. Because in 6 months, I'll be leading the largest fleet humanity has ever assembled into deep space. And if we fail, Earth will have no one left to protect her." The months that followed were a whirlwind of preparation. Every shipyard in the solar system worked overtime. The newest quantum drive technology, still experimental, was fast-tracked for installation on the fleet's capital ships. Military reserves were called up. Scientists worked desperately to learn everything possible about the Zephyrian language and the enemy they would face. Elena found herself appointed as the mission's xenological advisor, responsible for facilitating first contact with the Zephyrians. The weight of responsibility was crushing, but every time she listened to that original SOS signal, she found renewed determination. The night before the fleet's departure, Elena stood once again on Watchtower Prime's observation deck. But this time, she wasn't alone in the universe. Somewhere among those distant stars, people were fighting for survival, hoping against hope that someone would answer their call. Earth's fleet would launch tomorrow, carrying humanity's response across the void. It would be the largest and most dangerous mission in human history, but Elena knew they had no choice. The universe had sent them a message, and humanity had chosen to answer. As she watched Earth's first interstellar fleet begin its final preparations, Elena whispered a promise to the stars. "We're coming. Hold on just a little longer. Help is on the way." When humanity answers the call, Admiral Marcus Chen stood on the bridge of the ESV Defiance, humanity's largest battlecruiser, watching the final preparations for the most ambitious military operation in human history. Around him, the combined might of Earth's united fleet hung in space like a constellation of steel and determination. 57 ships representing every nation on Earth, unified under a single command for the first time in human history. The quantum drives hummed with barely contained energy, ready to tear holes in space-time and carry Earth's children to a distant star. Chen had commanded fleets before, but never one with such weight of expectation and fear. They were venturing into the unknown to fight an enemy they had never seen, to save people they had never met. Captain Elena Vasquez approached from the communication station, her face showing the strain of the past months. As the mission's xenological advisor, she had become the bridge between Earth's military might and the alien civilization they hoped to save. "Admiral, we're receiving updated transmissions from the Kepler 442 system," Elena reported. "The signals are weaker than before, but they're still broadcasting. The Zephyrians are still fighting." Chen nodded grimly. "That's something, at least. Status report on the fleet?" "All ships report ready for quantum jump," replied Commander Torres, Chen's tactical officer. "Engineering estimates will reach the Kepler system in 43 hours, with current drive parameters." Chen activated the fleet-wide communication system. His voice would reach every sailor, marine, and pilot in the human armada. "This is Admiral Chen to all ships. In 10 minutes we make humanity's first journey to another star. We go not as conquerors, but as protectors. We go not for glory, but for justice. Remember that today, Earth extends her hand across the void to those who cry out for help." The quantum jump was unlike anything humanity had ever experienced on such a scale. Reality twisted as 57 ships disappeared from Earth's solar system and reappeared light years away in an instant. When the spatial distortions cleared, they found themselves in a system under siege. The Kepler 442 system was beautiful and terrible. The star burned golden yellow like Earth's sun, but 3 of the system's planets showed the scars of orbital bombardment. Massive alien vessels, dark and angular like hungry insects, swarmed around the 4th planet. These were the ships of the Hegemony Collective. "My God," whispered Lieutenant Park, who had transferred from Watchtower Prime to serve as the fleet's communications specialist. "Look at the size of those things." The Hegemony ships were enormous, each one larger than Earth's biggest battlecruiser. They moved with predatory grace, their hulls black as space itself. Chen counted at least 30 major vessels with hundreds of smaller attack craft swarming between them. "Admiral," Elena called out, "I'm detecting a transmission from the planet's surface. It's in Zephyrian." "Put it through," Chen ordered. The voice that emerged from the speakers was musical, like wind chimes in a gentle breeze, but filled with desperate hope. Elena translated in real time, her voice catching with emotion. "They're saying, 'Children of the distant star, you have come as promised. We are the last survivors of New Zephyr, the final free world of our people. The Hegemony has taken everything else, but we still fight. If you can hear this, know that your arrival has given us strength we thought lost forever." Chen felt something stir in his chest, a mixture of pride and determination that reminded him why he had joined Earth's Navy decades ago. "Open a channel to the planet." Elena worked quickly with the translation protocols they had developed during the journey. "Channel open, Admiral. This is Admiral Marcus Chen of the Earth United Fleet," he began, knowing that Elena would convert his words into the musical tones of the Zephyrian language. "We received your call for help. We have come to stand with you against the Hegemony Collective. You are no longer alone." The response came immediately, filled with what needed no translation, joy and relief that transcended species barriers. But the moment of connection was shattered as the Hegemony fleet turned toward the human armada. Scanners lit up with targeting signals, and Chen realized they had just become the primary focus of the alien war machine. "All ships, battle stations," Chen commanded. "This is why we came. Let's show these bastards what happens when they threaten the innocent." The battle began with the Hegemony's opening salvo. Beams of crimson energy lanced across space, striking the outer ships of the human formation. The ESV Mumbai took multiple hits, her shields flaring and failing under the assault. "Return fire," Chen ordered. "All batteries engage at will." Earth's weapons were different from what the Hegemony expected. Where the aliens used energy weapons, humans preferred kinetic projectiles and explosive warheads. Railguns spat depleted uranium slugs at tremendous velocities. Missile tubes launched swarms of nuclear-tipped interceptors. The human fleet fought like a pack of wolves, using speed and coordination to offset the enemy's numerical advantage. But the hegemony ships were tough, their armor absorbing punishment that would have crippled human vessels. Worse, their weapons were devastatingly effective. The ESV Cairo exploded in a ball of superheated plasma, taking 300 souls with her. "Admiral," Commander Torres reported, "we're losing ships faster than we're damaging theirs. Their technology is superior." Chen watched another human ship die and felt the weight of command settling on his shoulders like lead. They had traveled 27 light-years to help the Zephyrians, and it looked like they were about to join them in extinction. That's when Elena made a discovery that changed everything. "Admiral, I'm picking up tactical data from the planet's surface. The Zephyrians are sharing their intelligence on hegemony weaknesses." She paused, her eyes widening as she processed the information. "Sir, the hegemony ships have a critical vulnerability. Their power distribution systems can't handle rapid fluctuations in energy demand. If we can hit them with coordinated attacks that force their systems to adapt quickly." Chen saw the opportunity immediately. "Torres, relay this to all ships. New attack pattern. I want synchronized strikes on target zones that will force their power systems to redistribute rapidly. Make them choose between weapons and shields." The human fleet adapted with the flexibility that had made them masters of Earth's conflicts. Ships paired off, one targeting the enemy's weapons while its partner hit their shields. The hegemony vessels found themselves caught between impossible choices, their sophisticated systems working against them. The tide began to turn when Captain Rodriguez of the ESV Barcelona made a desperate gambit. Her ship had lost main power, but she used maneuvering thrusters to ram her crippled vessel into a hegemony cruiser's bridge section. The explosion took out one of their command ships and sent shockwaves through their formation. "All ships, you saw Barcelona's sacrifice," Chen announced. "Press the attack for Earth, for the Zephyrians, for everyone who refuses to kneel to tyrants." The human fleet surged forward with renewed fury. They fought with a ferocity that the hegemony had never encountered. When ships were crippled, their crews continued fighting. When weapons failed, they used their vessels as weapons. When faced with impossible odds, they pressed forward anyway. On the planet's surface, the surviving Zephyrians watched in amazement as the humans fought with a determination that defied logic. These strangers from another star were dying to protect people they had never met, fighting an enemy that was not their own. Commander Zeth Ka, the leader of the Zephyrian resistance, sent a message that Elena translated with tears in her eyes. "Your warriors fight like the storms of our homeworld, wild, unpredictable, and unstoppable. We understand now why the universe sent you to us. You are the answer to tyranny." The battle raged for 6 hours. When it ended, both fleets were bloodied and exhausted. The hegemony had lost 22 ships, including 3 of their largest dreadnoughts. Earth's fleet had paid dearly, with 19 ships destroyed and most of the survivors damaged, but they had achieved something remarkable. For the first time in 15 years, the hegemony collective had been stopped. Their advance had been halted, their aura of invincibility shattered. As the surviving human ships regrouped, Chen stood on his damaged bridge and looked out at the stars. They had answered the call for help and proven that humanity belonged among the stars. But this was just the beginning. The real test would come when the hegemony returned with reinforcements. Elena approached him, holding a translation of the latest message from the planet. "Admiral, the Zephyrians want to share something with us. They say they have technology that combined with human tactics might be enough to defeat the hegemony permanently." Chen nodded, feeling something he hadn't felt since receiving the original SOS signal, hope. "Then let's listen carefully, Captain. We came here to save them, but I think they might be about to save us all." The day Earth's children showed their teeth. 3 weeks after the first battle, the combined human Zephyrian fleet hung in the outer reaches of the Kepler 442 system, like a promise of retribution. Admiral Chen stood in the war room of New Zephyr's underground command center, studying holographic displays that showed an approaching nightmare. The hegemony collective had not taken their defeat lightly. Intelligence reports indicated they were bringing the largest invasion force in their recorded history. Over 200 ships, including massive world killers capable of cracking planets. They intended to make an example of both the Zephyrians and their human allies that would echo across the galaxy. Commander Zeth Ka, the Zephyrian resistance leader, stood beside Chen with his iridescent blue skin reflecting the tactical displays. Despite the differences in their species, Chen had found in Zeth Ka the kind of professional soldier he could trust implicitly. "The hegemony fleet will arrive in 18 hours, Zeth Ka said in his musical voice, translated in real time by Elena's communication system. "Our combined forces number 67 ships. We are outnumbered more than 3-1. Chen nodded grimly. "In human military history, we call those interesting odds." "Captain Vasquez, what's the status on the technology integration?" Elena looked up from her workstation, where human and Zephyrian technicians worked side by side. "The Zephyrians' quantum resonance weapons have been successfully adapted to our ship's power systems. But Admiral, the real breakthrough isn't the technology, it's the tactical doctrine we've developed together. Over the past 3 weeks, humans and Zephyrians had learned from each other in ways that surprised both species. The Zephyrians possessed advanced defensive technologies and energy manipulation capabilities that were centuries ahead of human science, but they had always been a peaceful people. Their military tactics focused on protection rather than aggression. Humans brought something the galaxy had never seen: the refined art of warfare developed through millennia of conflict on a single world. Earth's soldiers understood strategy, deception, and the psychological warfare that could break an enemy's will to fight. Commander Torres approached with the final battle plans. "Sir, all ship commanders have confirmed readiness. The Zephyrian shield generators are online and their quantum weapons are charged. But I have to ask, are we really going to attempt the Trojan protocol with odds like these?" Chen smiled, a expression that had become familiar to his alien allies over the past weeks. It was the smile of a predator who had found the perfect hunting ground. "Commander, the Hegemony Collective has spent thousands of years conquering species who fought by their rules. Today, they learn what happens when they face Earth's children. The Trojan Protocol was humanity's contribution to the Alliance, a strategy so audacious that the Zephyrians had initially thought it was a joke. Instead of meeting the Hegemony fleet in open battle, they would appear to be retreating in panic while secretly maneuvering their most damaged ships into positions where they could cause maximum chaos in the enemy formation." Captain Elena Vasquez had been transferred to the ESV Harmony, one of the ships designated for the most dangerous part of the operation. Her vessel, along with 12 others, would appear to be crippled stragglers falling behind the main retreat. In reality, they would be carrying the war's most decisive weapons. The Hegemony fleet arrived exactly on schedule, dropping out of hyperspace, in a formation that spoke of absolute confidence. Their world killers were massive beyond anything humans had ever conceived, city-sized vessels bristling with weapons capable of sterilizing entire continents. Admiral Vex Corian, the Hegemony fleet commander, broadcast his ultimatum on all frequencies. "Inferior species, you have defied the natural order by resisting the collective. Your punishment will serve as an example to any who would dare oppose our expansion. Surrender now, and your deaths will be swift." Chen's response was broadcast on the same frequency, translated into the Hegemony's language by Zephyrian linguists. "This is Admiral Marcus Chen of Earth. We don't surrender, we don't kneel, and we sure as hell don't give up on our friends. If you want this system, come and take it." The human Zephyrian fleet began what appeared to be a panicked retreat, ships breaking formation and fleeing toward the outer system. Several vessels, including Elena's command, seemed to suffer catastrophic failures, falling behind and transmitting desperate distress calls. Vex Corian watched the rout with satisfaction. These humans fight like cornered animals. Fierce for a moment, then broken. Pursue the fleeing vessels. Leave no survivors. The Hegemony fleet surged forward, their formation spreading out to envelope the retreating enemy. Their world killers moved with ponderous certainty, confident that nothing in this primitive system could threaten them. That confidence lasted exactly 17 minutes. Elena's voice crackled across the human fleet network. "Trojan teams in position. All units, this is Harmony Actual. The gods of war are smiling today. Execute Protocol Omega." The 13 crippled human ships suddenly blazed to life, their damage revealed as elaborate holofield deceptions. More importantly, they were now positioned throughout the hegemony formation, having been ignored as they were presumed helpless. Each Trojan ship carried a Zephyrian quantum resonance bomb, a weapon that could create a cascading energy feedback loop in any ship within a 50-kilometer radius. The bombs had never been used in combat before because the Zephyrians considered them too destructive, too final. Humans had no such reservations. 13 quantum detonations erupted simultaneously throughout the hegemony fleet. Ships that had seemed invincible moments before found their power cores overloading, their weapons systems cascading into failure, their hulls cracking under the stress of uncontrolled energy discharges. But the Trojan Protocol was only the beginning. "All ships execute Combat Formation Delta," Chen commanded. "Show them what Earth's children learned in the School of Hard Knocks." The retreating human Zephyrian fleet wheeled around with predatory grace, their apparent panic transformed into perfect tactical coordination. The humans had taught the Zephyrians the concept of the fighting withdrawal, appearing to flee while actually drawing the enemy into an optimal engagement zone. The combined fleet struck the disorganized hegemony forces like a pack of wolves, hitting a herd of buffalo. Human ships used their superior maneuverability to dart between the massive enemy vessels, targeting critical systems with surgical precision. Zephyrian vessels provided devastating long-range support, their quantum weapons now calibrated to human targeting data. Admiral Vex Corian watched his fleet being systematically dismantled and felt something he had never experienced in 3 centuries of conquest: fear. These humans fought with a combination of intelligence and savagery that defied everything the hegemony understood about warfare. Captain Rodriguez, whose ship had been rebuilt after her sacrifice in the first battle, led a squadron of human destroyers in a maneuver that would be studied in military academies for generations. Her ships used Zephyrian shielding technology to survive passing directly through a hegemony world killer's defensive fire, then detonated their entire nuclear arsenal inside the massive vessel's hangar bay. The world killer's destruction lit up the system like a second sun. On the surface of New Zephyr, the surviving civilian population watched the battle through long-range sensors. Children who had known only war their entire lives saw something impossible. Their protectors were winning. Elder Kesna, the eldest of the Zephyrian Council, spoke words that were transmitted to every ship in the Allied fleet. "For 15 years, we have fought alone against the darkness. Today we see what the universe becomes when species choose cooperation over conquest, when strength protects rather than oppresses. The humans have shown us that the light of civilization can never truly be extinguished." The tide of battle turned decisively when the hegemony's remaining world killer attempted to target New Zephyr's surface. The massive vessel began charging its planet-cracking weapon, preparing to commit genocide out of spite. Elena's ship, the Harmony, was the closest vessel to the world killer. Without hesitation, she ordered a direct assault course. "Harmony to all ships," Elena broadcast, her voice calm despite the desperate nature of her gambit. "We're going to ram that monster before it can fire on the planet. It's been an honor serving with all of you." But Elena had underestimated the bonds forged in the crucible of combat. Human and Zephyrian ships converged on the world killer from all directions, every captain making the same choice Elena had made. The world killer died under the combined assault of 57 ships, each crew determined to protect the innocent, regardless of the cost to themselves. When the massive vessel exploded, it took 11 Allied ships with it, but New Zephyr remained safe. The battle's end came not with a climactic explosion, but with a simple transmission. Admiral Vex Corian, his flagship crippled, and his fleet, in ruins, sent a message that would echo across the galaxy. "I surrender. The hegemony collective acknowledges defeat. We did not understand what we faced here." Chen's response was broadcast on all frequencies, ensuring that every species in the galaxy would hear humanity's first official statement as an interstellar power. "This is Admiral Marcus Chen, speaking for Earth and her allies. Today, the galaxy learned something important. When civilized species stand together, no force of oppression can prevail. The hegemony collective is broken, but this victory belongs to everyone who refuses to kneel to tyrants. The age of fear is over. In the aftermath of victory, as human and Zephyrian crews worked together to rescue survivors and repair damaged ships, Elena stood on the observation deck of the rebuilt Harmony. The stars no longer seemed cold and distant. They were filled with possibilities, with new friends and new adventures. Admiral Chen joined her, his weathered face showing the satisfaction of a job well done. "Captain, we've received word from Earth. The Security Council is ratifying the formation of the Terran-Zephyrian Alliance, first official interstellar government in human history." Elena nodded, watching Zephyrian and human technicians working, side by side on a damaged ship. "Admiral, do you think we're ready for what comes next? The galaxy's a big place, and I suspect there are other species out there who could use our help." Chen smiled, the same predatory expression that had become his trademark. "Captain, 3 months ago we were alone in the universe. Today we've got allies, we've got the technology to travel between stars, and we've proven that human determination combined with alien wisdom can overcome any obstacle." He paused, looking out at the fleet that had become the foundation of a new galactic order. "Besides, somewhere out there someone else is probably broadcasting an SOS signal, and when Earth's children hear a call for help..." Elena finished the thought that would become humanity's promise to the galaxy. "We answer the call." The SOS that had started everything had done more than save the Zephyrians. It had awakened humanity to its destiny among the stars, proving that sometimes the most important journeys begin with someone else's cry for help. And in the years that followed, as the Terran-Zephyrian alliance grew to encompass dozens of species and hundreds of worlds, that first desperate signal would be remembered as the moment the galaxy learned what happened when Earth's children decided to care about strangers in the dark.